Hello and welcome back to Revender Sports and another edition of Industry News. Today is January the 30th of 2023, and on January the 20th, so 10 days ago, Giant bought into Stages Cycling. And if you're not familiar with Stages Cycling, Stages makes indoor cycling, indoor bikes, trainer bikes, smart bikes. If you think about the Wahoo KICKR bike, this is the competitor in that space. Stages, a power meter company, but they make indoor bikes for commercial use and for home use. They also make crank-based power meter systems. Most commonly used is the left arm crank arms for, like, let's say Shimano crank sets, but then they also do a left-right, so not just a left metering, but a right and left metering. And then they also make the dash computers, the Stages dash computers. For some reason, that's never been an interest to me, but I guess it works well. So it's a GPS computer. Well, Giant is, what's in a name, right? They are a giant in the bike industry. They are, for all of I've ever heard, is they're the largest bike manufacturer in the world. So Giant invests $20 million into Stages, and that's 32.5% of Stages, available stock and everything else. So, the big thing for Giant is they've already been making their indoor bikes, which I was not aware of that. I've only sold one of them. They're like $3,300, or at least they were. And I've only sold one of those indoor bikes. It's a San Diego, right? But so they've already been making those indoor bikes for several years. They've also been making their some of the Giant branded GPS computers are a Stages, derivative, right? So Giant's already been involved with Stages for several years. Now they're looking at, and this comes up a couple of times in the article, the ecosystem. So they want to tie in your indoor experience, your outdoor experience in this whole ecosystem of Stages or Giant, right? Power meter, indoor bike, all this other stuff. So they're trying to integrate that, and that's what Giant is looking to do. Now, if we think about Wahoo, Wahoo and their KICKR bike, Wahoo's had a downgrade in their credit worthiness, or whatever you want to call it, and they may be struggling. So, it makes me think, well, Wahoo went on a buying spree just a little while ago. They bought Speedplate pedals. A pedal I'm not a fan of, but there are some loyalists for the Speedplate pedal. So they went and bought that. They bought some other home system, something, and then, but one of the things that I saw from a different YouTube channel, which is Chris Miller out of Australia, they were talking about how maybe because they made some of their products so good, they didn't really have anything to follow up with it. And I mentioned in the previous video that, I've had this Bolt for a while, and it's a really, really good computer. Never had really any issues with it. The battery life is fantastic. It's not a color screen. It's not any of that stuff. It doesn't have so many bells and whistles that it'll drain the battery life on it. So, Wahoo having some financial issues, what new products are they coming out with that are inspiring you to purchase from them? Okay, so Wahoo's having trouble, but just recently Giant missed payments, I guess, to their suppliers, their vendors, or something. But yet they still had $20 million to invest into Stages. So, I don't I don't really have a hot take on this. I don't know which direction to lean on. But I will tell you this, because this is important to have a counterpoint. People like GC Performance and some of these other folks, they're talking about this huge inventory glut and all these bikes and all these sales and all these things, and that the bike industry is getting crushed and they have too much inventory. Now, I have shared some examples of that on this channel, but from my perspective, we still have inventory problems. We have a severe inventory shortage of 12-speed Shimano group sets, components, cassettes, chains. We still have a pretty serious problem with that. We have a serious problem with my niche brands, the smaller brands, not the Specialized Treks and Cannondale brands, which I don't know about those inventory levels. I hear tell they have a lot of inventory, but I don't sell those brands, so that doesn't impact me. What does impact me is the brands I can't get. For example, saddle, like SQ Lab saddles, they've been very, very hard to keep in stock. They sell well out of my store, but SQ Lab, the distributor, just cannot keep these saddles in stock. As a matter of fact, I just ordered, like a week and a half ago, I ordered a saddle for a longtime customer of mine. It said low in stock.
It's 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock. It's low in stock, and so I ended up choosing it, put it in the cart, charged my credit card. I was like, okay, we're good to go. I got one of the low in stock, but it's not in stock, and it'll be in stock on the 4th of February. But I just don't see this huge inventory glut of product that I see from all these channels. But anyway, so just to recap, Giant, who is missing payments in one direction, is now investing in another direction into Stages, who they have already been manufacturing bikes for in the past. Okay, well, anyway, that's just a really short industry news segment. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock, so she should be here any minute now. So I need to cut this off. And then there are some other industry news topics that I wish to cover for you and give you my take on them. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Please leave a comment down below. Hey, love these industry news comments. I didn't know that. Or, hey, I own a Stages bike. I didn't realize it was made by Giant. Get in the comments, get involved, and we will see you up the road.